says, it is actually neutralizing the carbon footprints which they saved it. So, for example, similar thing with the energy things. Once they produce energy, the downstream, which is the byproducts of the energy supplied to the household or the factories and everything, I think that will, don't you think that will neutralize the carbon footprint which you saved? And what is the sort of, as a national level government or a state level government, Honorable Chief Minister, so do you have any sort of a global policy in your state, or do you have any recommendations throughout the India where, as Richard said, that it cannot be done on the bits and balls, it has to be done as something like a COVID, which is a game changer for the whole thing. So is there anything, or anybody from the panel, do you have any suggestions that XYZ need to be done in order to actually make really sense carbon footprint or reducing these things? Anybody that would be really appreciable?
Thank you. Thank you. Whether we can do justice to that in the time available, I'm not entirely sure, though I do think there's something really important about the data that gives the transparency that runs right the way through the supply chain, that allows you to really get underneath the question you've just asked about, you know, whether some of the effects offset to some degree.
But Richard, on this particular thing, let me answer. Greenco, along with the Center of CMET, Government of India and Government of Telangana, we set up a new center for circular economy. We are developing a center where we could able to recycle the batteries and solar panels, and this should have been established in Hyderabad. And this has been well established. We should visit it, and there's a lot of new things which have been getting done there.
And
so what I'm going to say is, this is in the delivery, but what happens with other sectors? For example, you're producing electricity, which is an amazing job. But the downstream, don't you think that you have to do it in pretty much the sectors which is consuming your products?
I will explain details.
Very quickly, and then I'd like to bring Amitabh in on the first question.
I wanted to say, as you said, with the data, with the virtual twin of your battery, you can already plan for the circularity of your battery, the second life, the third life, the fourth life. And we're having more and more projects on batteries, just on that, on battery, but also on electric vehicle, where you want to recycle everything and circularize everything.
Thank you. Amitabh, that first question, how much do you see this about change driven by incentives? How much is there going to be nonetheless a need for a regulatory push that might involve, for example, higher carbon taxes? Where do you see that balance?
So first of all, I'm a strong believer that these long-term goals of 2050, etc., are ploys by the Western countries to shift the goalpost on an annual basis. They have never achieved their short-term goals. And, you can look at the history from COP1 to COP27. None of the Western countries have ever achieved their goal which they have committed to. And I can assure you right now that they'll not achieve the goal that they committed for 2050 either. Because achieving that goal really means what the Prime Minister said, changing lifestyles. It's about lifestyle for environment, he calls it, and that is individual behaviors have to change. Individual behavior means that your lifestyle of consumerism has to change. You go to New York, you will find nobody sitting in a building all night, the lights are on. Whole night the lights are on, water taps on. So consumerism, unless you don't change that, climate change will not alter. So every individual has to change his lifestyle. That's number one, to my mind. And secondly, unless we don't build in a very strong circular economy framework, and that would really mean that we don't start mandating, but we start building circular economy from the point of design and R&D. At the point of design, that everything must be an input into some other thing or there has to be an extended producer's responsibility for that circular economy to succeed. Not as a mandate, because then you will tamper with ease of doing business, you will impact businesses. But the businesses themselves, as according to the design framework, and that has to be embedded in the design, has to be built in. And circular economy really is the answer to what he's saying.
Thank you very much. Honourable Chief Minister, if we could come back to you for any closing thoughts before we pass some gifts to our panel members, that would be lovely.
In fact, the very fact that we're having a big debate on this, the very fact that we've taken a few steps to address this issue, understanding and realizing that we need to address this issue. We need to decarbonize it. Itself is a huge leap forward. Going forward, what Andhra Pradesh is offering and what Andhra Pradesh is doing is setting a trend. One, it's showcasing a huge 5,350 megawatt integrated solar, wind and pump storage project together in one location. Itself is a huge showcase. And through this, and in this, 1650 megawatt of pump storage. Just imagine the size of the battery that we're talking about. And a battery without the ill effects of lithium or something else. Just the water to play around with. So this is something that is going to be the future for this entire globe. And Andhra Pradesh is offering a huge opportunity where we're talking about just not 1650 megawatt that is coming up, but a potential for anybody who is interested to come and join the bandwagon. We have a potential of 33,000 megawatt available. So this is the closing remarks that Andhra Pradesh is welcoming you. And anybody who's got certain passion for environment, wanting to think big, Andhra Pradesh is the state. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. So before you all rush off, the Chief Minister is going to give some thank yous to the panel members, and then if you would just stay seated long enough to allow the panel to escape the room, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. And can I just say on my own behalf a big thank you to each of our panel members as well as to you, sir. Thank you.